Hello my fabulous Scrappy friends, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and as you know it is our December series and we are creating cards for each other this term. We have never done cards on our channel before. I am not a card maker, but I decided to jump on in and give it a go, and I actually was very daunted at the start, but I'm actually having a really good time. So this little card is a 4x4 sized card, and so I started by folding my cardstock first, and the reason why I did that is because often if I cut a 4x8 inch piece of cardstock, I tend to end up then getting like the fold not straight, and it like winky wonky crosses over. So I made a 4x4 fold first, and then cut it down to the correct size. And then that yellow mat, the mustard coloured mat, is just, 3 7/8 or something, just one little skerrick shorter. So once I've done that, I'm going to attach that mat onto my cardstock. And then I'm actually going to put the whole thing through the sewing machine and spin it all the way around on the sewing machine. So I'm just going to do like a nice little sewn border all the way around. Now, once I've done that, I pull the threads through to the back, tie them in a knot, and just cut them as close as I can to the edge, just so they don't look too obvious or too messy, because even though that is the back of the card, it is on the inside, so you will see it. So I wanted to keep it as neat and tidy as I could. If you don't like that look, you could absolutely mat another piece of cardstock inside your card, but it looks fine to me and I'm happy with how that goes together, so I'm going to just leave it as it is. As I mentioned earlier, I am not a card maker. I have never really made cards before. It's not my thing. Katie does. Katie was a Stamping Up rep for quite a long time, and she is an excellent card maker. So this was quite a challenge for me, but we thought we'd just try and do something just a little bit different for us this year, that we'd never done before. So luckily I do have quite a lot of scrapbooking supplies. So I decided I wanted to make this little teeny tiny envelope that would go onto the front of my card. So using my We Are Memory Keepers all-in-one tool, I cut my piece of paper to 3 7/8 inches squared, and then I scored the two opposite sides at 1 1/4 inch, and then using the mechanism lined up the other two score lines, rounded the corners, and then popped out the envelope tabs. Now, if you don't have an envelope punch board or you don't have a We Are Memory Keepers all-in-one tool, that won't have made a huge amount of sense to you. I apologise. I am very lucky that I have these resources at my disposal, and therefore I was able to make my own little mini envelope. You can absolutely still make your own. My suggestion would be to either open one, maybe that you got in an ephemera pack, and just trace it, or even to find a template off the internet that you could just print and trace out. So now I'm going to stuff my little envelope with a piece of ephemera, and this is from the Maggie Holmes Magic Forest ephemera, and it's just one of the little tags actually, but I cut the tag element off and I just rounded the top corners, the corners that you're going to see, and I'm just going to pop him inside the envelope. A little bit winky wonky, but I just really like that sort of effect, that look. And then that little heart is a Charms Creation heart. Now she's a supplier over here in Australia. She makes these super cute fabric shapes, not just hearts, but on this particular layout I wanted to use the two hearts. Those two stickers, the one of the girl and the purse, is from Pebbles, and it is the Hey You sticker sheet. And Hey Hello sticker sheet. And now I'm just going to pop everything up on foam. The Charms Creation heart is quite fat, so I need to layer up the envelope so that it will become an equal balance on the back, so it will adhere to the cardstock easier. So I actually need 2 layers of foam, I think. The Charms Creation heart is just so fat, I think I need two 2 layers of foam to go on there, just to even that out so that I can pop it over onto my front of my card. And then I'm basically finished. So actually decorating this was quite simple. I didn't use any stamping at all. I didn't put a sentiment on the inside because it just says magic is something you make. So you could absolutely use this for any type of occasion. I miss you, or a birthday, or just a thank you, or just a note card, just purely to send to a friend who needs a bit of a pick-me-up. So I didn't want to stamp it because you just never know how and why you want to use this. If you're wondering about envelopes, because some of our cards, even throughout the whole series, mine especially, might not be sort of a standard card size. As you can see, I have an envelope punch board. I'm going to make all of my own envelopes using the super thin 12 by 12 cardstock that we can sometimes get maybe in paper pads, and they're white on the back but they're colored on the front. And I'm going to make the envelopes white side out with color on the inside, and I'll make them all the correct size to match, and I'll try and get some colors that sort of complement what's happening with my layout, my card. So I hope that makes sense to you. So I am super lucky to have access to a envelope punch board. As I mentioned, Katie is was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so she also has an envelope punch board. So I totally would have just gone and used her supplies as well to do that, because envelopes can be a little bit tricky when you're making your own card, especially if you don't make them standard size. I think I would have been able to find some for 4x4 cards, and I have made quite a few 4x6 cards, which are normal size, but just in case. So I have finally finished layering up all of that foam. I don't have any foam tape, so I'm using up a whole bunch of old foam supplies, which is perfect, but it just takes a little bit longer because I need to add my own adhesive, and the glitter doesn't always stick, so I just add an extra dollop of glue to help that stick. So that is all sticky and ready to go onto the front of my card. Clean up my space. All right, I'm just showing you how fat it has been made with the envelope as well as the charm creation. So where it's just the sticker hanging over the edge, it actually needed 3 layers of foam because the envelope itself on the front is a little bit thick as well. But we finally make it. Then I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the charms creation so that can just sit down on there. And we are done. So here are the 2 lovely finished cards. I will also have some close-up photos. I hope you have enjoyed watching this process. I really loved making these 2 cards and using scrapbook supplies to make these cards, because I feel like as scrapbookers watching our channel, you can now look at this and go, hey, I can do that. I have that stuff at home as well. I need a quick card for a girlfriend or my husband, so here you go. So thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for another process video and opening video tomorrow.